Hello, friends. Welcome. Today we're going to find playfulness and fun in the mundane. I'm grabbing some rocks that I found, and we're going to be painting them in some interesting colors that are very different than the colors that they actually are. So, when I'm painting, I like to lay down a little bit of a base just to make the page more interesting. So, it's not just like these three things standing still there. So, I'm taking three colors. I have a yellow and I have a blue and I have kind of a greenish shade. So you can pick whatever three colors you're going to be choosing, but you want them to be bright. You also want them to be non traditional hues. So these stones that I have are different shades of beige and tan. There's some brown and red in them. And so I'm going with the kind of opposite of that with these blues and yellows, and I'm grabbing right now a teal green here. And we're going to be playing around. You want to look around you, find some objects that are interesting. And like if you're using leaves that are red and brown, you're going to want to maybe go neon color. Choose things that are different because we're going to want to look at these objects in a completely different way to think about our daily lives a little bit differently. So I do a little splatter as well. I like splattering around my page and making it a little more freeform, but you do you. Okay.
We're going to grab some color. So we're going to start with the Derwent Inktense in Sienna. Oh, nope, we're going to start with the Caran in the orangish yellow. Then we have the Inktense in teal green, another Inktense in Sienna gold, and the last one is Inktense in sun yellow. Those are the shades we're going to be using for this first stone. These are watercolor pencils. I just love this medium. You can do this in marker or in pen or in colored pencil if you prefer. This is just my preference. So we're going to be filling in the medium dark shades, not the shadows, but the medium dark shades of the stone in the sienna gold color. And I like marking kind of corners, so I just make a little mark there of the shape and then kind of fill it in as I go. That's just how I prefer to do it, but you could do it however you like to do it. And then I'm going to grab the sun gold. I'm going to fill in that um, just slightly lighter areas. The places that are highlighted, I'm going to be leaving either covered in the orangish yellow, very lightly shaded, or I'm going to have completely free of the color. So it's just that under yellow that's showing. If you want to see this a little bit easier, you can take a screenshot and turn it black and white, and you should be able to see the shading a little bit better of what's darker, what's lighter. Or you can go and grab your own objects and again, take black and white photos of them and then do it that way. So I'm using those two medium. So there's like the highlight I'm leaving open. There's the three medium shades that I have in the orange and the yellow and the orangish yellow. And now that teal I'm using for shadow. So the teal I'm going to use in all the stones for shadow. All the places that you're seeing that's kind of darker gray, I'm putting that in there. So we're playing around with some different colors, seeing how that'll turn up and turn out, doing it in a completely different way than what it looks like in real life. So now I'm just taking a number one round watercolor brush and very little water on my brush, and I'm just painting and wetting activating the color within this pencil and softening it. I'm not mixing it, so I don't want to like rub it in so far that I'm like mixing it up. You just wet it gently and it livens up the color. In the next stone, we're going to be using Derwent Inktense Fuchsia and Teal Green and the Caran Supercolor in Violet, Scarlet, Light Blue, and Prussian Blue. Okay, so here's the next stone. I'm going to kind of just mark kind of the corners. I don't know if you saw me make a little mark there. And then following around the edges. This is in the light blue. And I'm going to take pretty much the whole stone, and I'm going to color the underside of this because I wanted a little bit, pretty much where all that yellow is that you see on the stone is going to be this blue. And then I'm going to be using the like red and the violet and the fuchsia for the different spots on the stone. So I'm holding on to it here so I can grab it. I've got the violet here, and I'm going to start making, it's kind of not oriented right in the picture you're seeing, but I'm getting all those like brownish red rust colored dots that I made violet. And that one kind of on the side of the stone as well that I'm making violet. And I'm adding a little bit of some darker of that blue on the bottom there to show that that's like the side of the stone versus it being flat. And then I'm gonna add in with the fuchsia where those red spots are. Maybe I'm gonna darken it up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Prussian blue, just add a little bit of dimension to those spots. And then I'm gonna take that red, which one is that one, did I say? It was scarlet. And I'm adding those details to those bigger kind of pink spots. So that one's kind of similar to the color that it is in real life, but not quite. And then I've got Prussian blue, and I'm putting that more in that, if you can tell on the side of that stone, it's darker yellow, right, than the other part there, and along the edge a little bit, just give it some dimension. And then just like I did with the other stone, I'm going to be grabbing the teal green. And in the teal green, I'm going to be adding the shadows. So again, you can turn this black and white if you wanted to, and then be able to see where those shadows are a little bit more. Oh, I'm still adding more detail. I just can't help myself. I'm adding more little bits and pieces as I go with like more of the scarlet. And there's like, this stone has ridges in it, and I just felt like it was feeling flat without seeing those ridges. So you can close up shot of the stone, or you can grab your own stuff and so you can see some of those closer details a little bit more. But it has these lines in it, and I wanted to show this kind of like roughness of this piece and make it a little fun. So moving on to the next stone, that one is a little bit more tan green, and I'm going to be using Derwent Inktense Sherbet Lemon, and the Inktense Teal Green, and the Inktense Sun Yellow, if I can even say it, the Caran Soft in Orange, and then I'm not sure what, I want some greens, but I'm not sure which greens. So I'm just going to test them out. So this is olive green. I like it. Maybe we'll go with that one. That one's too light. It's not going to show up with this green under. And that's the sun yellow. So there's the sun yellow, keeping that. And I'm keeping the olive green. I think it needs a little bit, it right now it just looks like really light, bright colors. So I need a little bit of a darker along with that teal. So I'm going to grab this moss green. That's this last one. And that's also from Supercolor to Soft. They're all watercolor pencils. Okay, so here's the stone. It's like this brown, tan, gray. I'm going to outline it in this moss green color, which is, again, kind of like a mid-tone, right? Like it's not the darkest shade I have, which is the teal. And I'm going to go over all of the edges that you see that are brownish tan. So there's all the edges around, a little bit more on the top. There's even some spots in the middle there, so I'm going to get those as well. Just covering all the little areas that I'm seeing that brown tan. And then where I see the white or the cream color, I'm going to make that sun yellow. I'm going to color all that in there. And as you can tell, it looks kind of flat right now. It's not looking like it has a whole lot of dimension. So we're going to add more color to make it a little more interesting. So this is moving on to the, which one's this? Light olive, I believe. That one's light olive. Yeah. And I'm going to go over that moss green to make it a little more interesting of a color. And then I've got that sherbet, which is like a lime green. It's really, really bright. And I'm going to go over some little spots that I see that are brighter of that brown. So in the brown parts that are just brighter, I'm going to make sherbet. And then I'm going to take that orange and I'm going to go over the edges of what is white and along the edges that are darker of the white. And I'm going to make those orange. And then I'm going to be blending that together with water a little bit later, so you'll be able to see what that looks like once it's all blended in. But here it is. So once I've already taken my pen, I've like wet those other ones so the colors all pop out. This is the finished product. So you can see how the stone looks nothing like the painting, except for its shape and some of its spots. But other than that, it looks like an entirely different piece, which is just so interesting and fun to do. So I hope you get out there, find some interesting things, have some fun with color, and try something new.